Jeremiah 7:1 through 8:3. Devotional focus verse. But this thing commanded I them, saying, Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and ye shall be my people. And walk ye in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. Jeremiah 7:23. Margaret Parker had drifted away from the faith of her childhood, and she was miserable. Though she attended various churches and prayed at times, she had no victory in her life. She knew her prayers were not going through to God, and sin began to take over her life more and more. One day, in despair, she walked into her bedroom and cried out, God, help me. And God did. He reminded her of a Christian woman she had known, one who believed and lived by the Bible. Margaret wrote to her, and the woman wrote back and included some literature from the Apostolic Faith Church. Margaret later recounted, We had a settee before the fireplace, and I was sitting on it when I started reading that Apostolic Faith paper. I do not know when I knelt down, but I finished reading it on my knees. As I read, Jesus was there with me, helping me to say yes to everything I read. Yes, I would make restitution. Yes, I would ask forgiveness. Yes, I would give up those sinful practices. When I got to my feet, I was completely changed. God assured me that He would be with me all the way, a promise He has kept for many decades now. When Margaret promised God that she would obey Him and walk in the ways that He had commanded, she found peace and the victory in her life that she had longed for. God blessed her life from that day forward, and she had the opportunity to prove His promise many times. Her husband was saved and their home was changed. Later in her life, she was afflicted with a terrible cancer on her body. God instantly healed her as she sat in a church service. When she took away the bandages after the service, the swelling, the lump, and all other evidences of the cancer had disappeared. God kept His promise to Margaret, and He would have kept the promise given in our focus verse to the people of Judah if only they would have followed Him in obedience. Sadly, their reaction was the exact opposite of Margaret's. We read in verse 24, But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. Today, each of us can choose to follow God and enjoy the rich blessings He promises to those who will obey Him. Of course, we do not lose our free will when we become Christians. We daily will be presented with choices. Will we choose good or evil? Right or wrong? Will we choose to obey God or disobey? In every decision, God will be there to give us strength to do right when that is our choice. Margaret found out that the benefits of doing so are incalculable. They lasted right up until the moment she stepped joyously into the presence of her Savior. The same testimony can be yours if you will choose to obey. Background information. Chapter 7 begins Jeremiah's third sermon, which he delivered from the gate of the temple. He rebuked the people of Judah for bringing their idolatrous rituals into the temple and for believing that God would never destroy Jerusalem because the temple was there. Jeremiah began his message with the assurance that if the people of Judah would deal with each other justly, take care of their poor, and turn from idolatry, God would allow them to continuously dwell in the land He had given to them. Beginning in verse 8, Jeremiah adopted a harsher manner as he reminded Judah of its sinful ways. The people trusted in the lying words of the false prophets and had turned the temple into a place of vile behavior and thievery. In response to their declaration that the temple ensured their safety, God reminded Judah of what had happened in Shiloh when the people of Israel disobeyed by removing the Ark of the Covenant from the tabernacle to protect them in battle. See 1 Samuel 4. Just as He had done in Shiloh, God would bring judgment to the temple in Jerusalem because of Judah's waywardness. In verse 15, Ephraim signified the northern kingdom, which had previously been taken into captivity. After instructing Jeremiah not to pray or intercede for the people of Judah, God continued with his indictment against them. The men, women, and children openly prepared and offered sacrifices to other gods. In verse 18, the Queen of Heaven may have referred to Ishtar or her counterpart Ashtoreth, the goddess of fertility, sexuality, and war. Under the Mosaic law, eating the flesh of a burnt offering was forbidden. God stated in verse 21 that the people of Judah may as well combine their burnt offerings with their peace offerings, which were permitted to be eaten, because all of their sacrifices were worthless in his eyes. God also declared that his principal commandments did not concern burnt sacrifices, but the fact that if they obeyed him, he would be their God and it would be well with them. In verse 31, Tophet, which meant to burn, was the name of an altar near Jerusalem in the valley of Hinnom and was associated with child sacrifice to the god Molech. Because of the dreadful judgment to come, Jeremiah instructed the inhabitants of Jerusalem to cut off their hair, a sign of mourning. The forthcoming retributions outlined in Jeremiah 7:32 through Jeremiah 8:3 were compelling reasons for Judah to mourn. Because of their Hebrew culture, there was no greater humiliation than to have their dead bodies exposed to the elements of nature. Jeremiah also stated that those who managed to survive the siege of Judah would prefer death over life because of the revolting living conditions in the land of their captivity. Conclusion. God promises that if we serve and obey him, we will be blessed both now and in eternity. Let's learn from the defiance of Judah and do as God commands.
Chapter 7. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Stand in the gate of the Lord's house, and proclaim there this word, and say, Hear the word of the Lord, all ye of Judah, that enter in at these gates to worship the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Trust ye not in lying words, saying, The temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, are these. For if ye thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if ye thoroughly execute judgment between a man and his neighbor, if ye oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, and shed not innocent blood in this place, neither walk after other gods to your hurt, then will I cause you to dwell in this place, in the land that I gave to your fathers, forever and ever. Behold, ye trust in lying words that cannot profit. Will ye steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, and burn incense unto Baal, and walk after other gods whom ye know not, and come and stand before me in this house which is called by my name, and say, We are delivered to do all these abominations? Is this house which is called by my name become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, even I have seen it, saith the Lord. But go ye now into my place which was in Shiloh, where I set my name at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people Israel. And now, because ye have done all these works, saith the Lord, and I spake unto you, rising up early and speaking, but ye heard not, and I called you, but ye answered not. Therefore will I do unto this house which is called by my name, wherein ye trust, and unto the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I have done to Shiloh. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim. Therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee. Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger, saith the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore thus saith the Lord God, Behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man and upon beast, and upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn, and shall not be quenched. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Put your burnt offerings unto your sacrifices, and eat flesh. For I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. But this thing commanded I them, saying, Obey my voice, and I will be your God, and ye shall be my people. And walk ye in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in the counsels and in the imagination of their evil heart, and went backward, and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt unto this day, I have even sent unto you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them. Yet they hearkened not unto me, nor inclined their ear, but hardened their neck. They did worse than their fathers. Therefore thou shalt speak all these words unto them, but they will not hearken to thee. Thou shalt also call unto them, but they will not answer thee. But thou shalt say unto them, This is a nation that obeyeth not the voice of the Lord their God, nor receiveth correction. Truth is perished, and is cut off from their mouth. Cut off thine hair, O Jerusalem, and cast it away, and take up a lamentation on high places. For the Lord hath rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, saith the Lord. They have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name to pollute it. And they have built the high places of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. For they shall bury in Tophet, till there be no place. And the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of the heaven, and for the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray them away. Then will I cause to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land shall be desolate. Chapter 8. At that time, saith the Lord, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the host of heaven, whom they have loved and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in all the places whither I have driven them, saith the Lord of hosts.